My girlfriend said, I need closure with my ex before we move forward. I said then move on without me. She called it healing. I called it a breakup 2 weeks later. She was crying outside my condo, and by then the locks, the lease, and my patience were already gone. I am Travis, 35, and I work as an IT project manager in Raleigh. My ex Kendra is 31 and worked in social media for a regional home builder. We were together for a little under 3 years, and for the last 11 months. She'd been living in my condo. The mortgage, HOA, parking pass, and keypad were all in my name up until the last month. I honestly thought I was going to marry her, not in a vague someday way either. I had a separate savings account with $4.800 in it for a ring. I'd already talked to my sister about timing and picked the long weekend I was going to use. I am not spontaneous by nature. When I commit with a spreadsheet. Kendra used to say she loved that about me, said I made life feel safe, but once she moved and I started noticing something, she liked my stability most when it benefited her. My place was our place. My routines were boring until they kept everything running. My money was just money right up until she wanted a weekend away or wanted me to cover more because her bonus was late again. There was also one recurring ghost in the room. Her ex, Nalin. I'm not the jealous type, everybody has history. But Nalin came up too often. A song, a restaurant, a story from college, some memory from Charleston. She always framed it like harmless nostalgia, and every time I let it go, calm, mature, no insecurity. Theater. Then 3 Fridays before I planned to propose, we went to an Italian place downtown. Kendra had been weird all week, protective of her phone, distracted, alternating between extra affectionate and oddly cold. I figured it was work stress. Halfway through dinner, she put her glass down and said, I need you to hear me out like an adult. Then she slid her phone across the table. Flight confirmation, Raleigh to Nashville, Saturday morning, return Monday afternoon. I asked what I was looking at. She said Nalin reached out. He's there for work. We never really got proper closure. And before we move forward, I need to clean that up. I just looked at her. She kept talking, said it wasn't cheating, said it was emotional housekeeping, said if we were really talking about forever. She didn't want unfinished chapters in her heart. Then she added the part that ended everything, if you're mature you understand this has nothing to do with you, nothing to do with me. My girlfriend was telling me she needed a weekend with another man before I was allowed to become her future, and somehow that had nothing to do with me. I asked one question. Where are you staying? She hesitated, then said we were going to figure that out when I got there. It's cheaper if we split the hotel. That was it. I put my napkin on the table and said then move on without me. She blinked like she thought I was kidding. Travis, don't be dramatic. I stood up, dropped enough cash to cover my meal, and said you don't need closure. You need options. I'm not one of them. Then I left. By the time I got to the condo garage, she had called 9 times. When I got upstairs there were already texts waiting. You embarrassed me. You're twisting this. This is exactly why I needed closure. Call me now. Be rational. I didn't reply. I packed everything carefully. 3 rolling suitcases, 5 boxes, 2 shopping bags of shoes, 1 plastic bin of makeup and hair stuff, and a framed print she hung above my desk that said choose peace. That one almost made me laugh. Around midnight, she came home. What is this? She asked. I said the end of the conversation. She switched fast, outrage, tears, then the soft voice. She said I was punishing her for being honest, said she thought I was emotionally strong enough for an adult conversation, said this was why people struggled to be vulnerable with me. I handed her the spare key and said you can take what you need tonight. The rest needs to be gone by Sunday at noon. After that it goes into storage. I already priced one out. First month is $96. She stared at me and said you can't just throw me out. I said watch me, I know not delicate, but I own the condo. She wasn't on any paperwork. More importantly, I was done negotiating with somebody trying to call betrayal self-care. She left that night with 2 bags and slammed the door hard enough to shake the hallway mirror. The next morning I changed the keypad code, deactivated her parking pass, removed her from the grocery account, and called the condo office so they knew not to buzz her up without my approval. My building manager Denise asked if everything was okay. I gave her the short version. She nodded and said send me her picture and I'll handle the lobby if I need to. Unexpected ally number 1. Sunday came. Kendra showed up an hour late with her friend Brooke and Brooke's boyfriend Mason to collect the rest. Kendra wore my old college hoodie and had clearly chosen the soft, sad angle. Puffy eyes, coffee in hand, like cardboard boxes were going to turn into reconciliation. She said she canceled the flight. I said that was smart. She waited for more. There wasn't any. Then she tried again. I chose to see if you could keep both. Brooke immediately started with the can't you to just talk routine. I ignored her. Mason mostly carried boxes and looked like he wanted to be anywhere else. When Kendra got to the last suitcase, she said you're really doing this over closure. I said I'm doing this over disrespect. She left with everything except a blender, a pair of boots, and a box of random cords. That was the original post. Update 1. 4 days later Brooke texted me from a number I didn't know because I'd already blocked Kendra's main one. She said Kendra was devastated, barely sleeping, and convinced I'd made the biggest misunderstanding of my life. Brooke said closure didn't mean cheating and accused me of reacting from pride. I replied with one screenshot, the flight, the dates, and Kendra's text from the restaurant parking lot that said, "You were never supposed to make me choose this way." Brooke sent one message back, "Wow." Then nothing. 2 days after that, Kendra showed up at the condo around 1:15 at night. Denise called upstairs first because she'd followed instructions. Kendra said she just needed 10 minutes for closure. There was that word again, like it was a magic key. Kendra stayed in the lobby anyway, sat in one of the leather chairs like she was starring in a very low-budget breakup movie. Denise texted me a photo and said, "If this turns weird, keep records." I still have that photo. Kendra wore the red coat I bought her at Christmas. She sat there almost 40 minutes at one point. She wrote something on paper and asked Denise to send it up. Denise refused. Then Kendra started crying hard enough that the overnight concierge from next door came over to check on her. Denise finally told her she had to leave or security would escort her out. That got her moving. She texted me 15 minutes later from another number. "I canceled Nashville. I picked you. I just need closure from this because you blindsided me." That sentence actually helped me. She still thought the story was about her feelings, her closure, her confusion. The fact that she'd been willing to blow up the relationship for a weekend with her ex had somehow become background scenery. I blocked that number too. Around that same time, work got unexpectedly good. My director offered me a lead role on a messy software migration. Nobody else wanted. More money, bigger team, more pressure. Exactly my kind of thing. I took it. I also joined a Saturday morning pickleball group my friend Jordan had been pushing me to try for months. Kendra moved from sad to strategic. She emailed me a 3-page letter with the subject line, "For closure, not reconciliation." That alone told me it was both. It was full of therapy, language, process, narrative, abandonment, wound, emotional truth. She apologized in sentences that still blamed me. "I'm sorry. You felt threatened by something I needed. I'm sorry. Your fear turned honesty into punishment." I didn't answer. Then she mailed a bracelet to my condo with a note saying, "I can heal while you hold anger." I put both in a folder on my laptop labeled Kendra and kept going. Update to about 3 weeks after the breakup, Jordan invited me to a brewery after pickleball one Saturday. He brought a friend named Lee. She's 32, a physical therapist, funny without trying too hard, and one of those people who asks direct questions and actually listens to the answer. We talked for 2 hours. It was the easiest conversation I had in a long time. Apparently somebody saw us there because that Monday morning Kendra was sitting in the lobby of my office building. Reception called up and said there was a woman downstairs who said she was there for a personal conversation and would wait as long as necessary. I looked down from the second floor railing and there she was holding a large envelope against her chest like she was delivering state secrets. I told reception she was not a guest of mine and asked building security to escort her out. She left the envelope anyway. Inside was a 4-page letter plus 6 photos of us from old trips. On the last page she'd written by hand, "I was trying to close an old chapter so I could fully choose you, Don. Let ego ruin the best thing either of us ever had." I photographed everything, put it back in the envelope, and added it to the folder. That afternoon Lee texted me asking if I wanted to grab tacos Thursday. I said yes. Thursday night went great, which apparently Kendra also found out about because at 11:18 p.m. she sent a Venmo request for $1240 labeled half of emotional labor and apartment upgrades. Apartment upgrades meant throw pillows and kitchen canisters she'd already taken. I declined it with one line, "You don't get reimbursed for almost cheating." She requested it again, same amount, new note, "You owe me closure one way or another." That was when I called an attorney. The cease and desist letter cost me $385, best money I spent all month. It cited the repeated contact, the office visit, the mail, the Venmo harassment, and the attempts through third parties. Kendra lost it when she got it first. Brooke called saying I was being cruel. Then Kendra's mother called, which I actually answered because I thought maybe there had been some emergency. Her mother said, "I know you two are hurting, but serving a legal letter over closure feels extreme." I said, "Mrs. Carter, your daughter booked a weekend with her ex and called it healing. I ended it. Since then she's shown up at my home, my job, and my inbox. That's not closure. That's harassment." Silence. Then she said she told me she only sent one email. I said I can forward the rest if that would help. Long pause, then a very different tone. "No, that won't be necessary. I'll speak to her." For about 6 days things were quiet. Then Lee and I went to dinner on a Friday night at a place in North Hills, and Kendra walked in wearing the exact black dress she'd worn on our anniversary the year before. She saw us before we saw her. By the time I looked up she was already at our table pretending to be surprised. "Wow," she said. "That was fast." Lee stayed calm. I appreciated that. I told Kendra to leave. She smiled this thin little smile and said, "I just wanted closure, Travis. Apparently you wanted a replacement." Then she knocked Lee's water glass over with her purse. Maybe accident, maybe not, didn't matter. The manager came over I asked him to call security. Kendra started crying immediately, saying she was being humiliated in public. Security walked her out. I filed a police report that night anyway, not because of the spilled water, because I was done pretending any of this was random. My attorney took the report, the office envelope, the lobby photo, the Venmo requests, the letters and the emails, and filed for a protective order the next business day. Final update: the hearing was 3.5 weeks later. Kendra showed up in a cream blouse and cardigan, hair pulled back, looking like the human version of reasonable doubt. Her lawyer's whole angle was predictable. My client simply wants closure. My client has been grieving the abrupt end of a serious relationship. My lawyer didn't need to get dramatic. He handed over the packet. The judge read for a long time the Nashville flight confirmation, her text that said, "You were never supposed to make me choose this way," the office letter, the Venmo note, "You owe me closure one way or another," the building manager statement, the restaurant incident report. Then he looked at Kendra and said, "Closure is not a legal right you extract from someone who asked you to stop contacting him. That line was worth every cent of the filing fee." She tried to cry, tried to explained that she was only fighting for love. The judge shut that down. 2. He granted the order for 18 months, no contact, 500 feet from my condo, my office, and anywhere she knew I regularly went if she was there because of me. He also made it clear that using friends or family to relay messages counted as contact outside the courtroom. Brooke actually had the nerve to glare at me like I'd ruined everybody's day. Maybe I didn't bother me. That was almost 3 months ago. Since then, life has gotten quiet in the best way. Lee and I are still seeing each other. No labels rushed. No games. Just steady, easy. She texts first. Sometimes she says what she means. Revolutionary concept. Work has been good to the migration project. Finished under budget, which in my world is basically a love language. My bonus this quarter was $6,200. The Ring Fund turned into a brokerage contribution and a new couch, both better investments. As for Kendra, the last thing I heard was through Jordan's wife, who ran into Brooke at a baby shower. Apparently Kendra tells the story now like she was emotionally abandoned for wanting honesty, which is fine. People can rewrite history all they want. The problem is documentation exists. So does airline confirmation. Here's what I learned: closure is one of those words that sounds noble until the wrong person gets hold of it. Then it becomes a crowbar, a permission slip, a way to do something selfish while demanding applause for being emotionally evolved. Kendra didn't want closure. She wanted one foot in the past and the other in my condo while I waited around acting grateful. She might still choose me. No, if you need to revisit an old love so badly that you're willing to risk your current one, that is your closure. The choice is already made. The chapter is already closed. Maybe not the one you meant, but definitely one of them. I didn't know her healing. I didn't owe her 10 minutes in the lobby, one more dinner, one reply, one soft landing, or one final conversation so she could feel better about what she was willing to do. Sometimes closure is just a locked door, a blocked number, and the sudden peace that follows when you stop explaining basic respect to someone committed to misunderstanding it. If you've ever dealt with someone who used closure as an excuse to keep a grip on your life, tell me in the comments. Subscribe, like, and share if this hit home, and let me know whether you think I handled it right or what you would have done.